There aren't that many games that are all about peace and quiet. There definitely are some, but I think usually when the average person thinks about video games, they're thinking about some kind of a frantic experience. They're thinking about maybe some exploration, but they're thinking Call of Duty, Madden, something high energy, something competitive, something that involves a lot of action. Maybe even World of Warcraft. That's a little bit more peaceful in terms of the really common games that people think of. But what about those games that are all about relaxing, that are all about having that feeling that you get when you go on a long hike and then lay down in a hammock afterwards? When you finish mowing the lawn and go take a shower, when you just cozy up in your bed and fall asleep. Those are the experiences we're talking about today. Those are the games that we're going to talk about today. I am your host, Chris, and this is Game, Develop, Repeat. Some of the most peaceful video game moments happen in some of the most exciting or thrilling video games. You've got Red Dead Redemption 2. It's all about gunslinging, committing crimes, robbing trains, running around the Wild West and causing problems and sometimes helping out. And yet you have these moments where you just finished going hunting and you're bringing the animal back to your camp, where you're just riding through the woods and you bring it back to camp, you provide some supplies, you go stop by your tent, read your journal, maybe change your hair a little bit, look at the sunset. You just check out the environment, go down to the river. I think that game has fishing. It does. I don't remember getting super invested in it. I am big on fishing mini games, but you get a nice peaceful experience within all of the chaos. When you're playing Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, there are moments where you go from spot to spot to spot, just chasing after all of these things on the map that you want to unlock and find and discover. And then every once in a while, you just look out across the landscape because you just finished climbing some big mountain that you don't really need to be on top of. And you look around and you go, holy crap, what a game. What a view. What a beautiful landscape they created. And hey, what's that over there? And then you're back to playing the game. There are times when you're playing Resident Evil where you are just at peace. We're in a safe room where you finally have a spot away from all of the chaos and the struggle and the frustration and the fear of that game, from even the puzzles, even the mental struggle of dealing with stuff. You just walk away from it, you close that door, and you go, I'm in a safe room. I'm good here. But then there are games that are dedicated to these peaceful feelings. There's games like Coffee Talk and Kind Words. Actually, Kind Words is an interesting one. It's, a very social game. People write about their problems, other people respond. It's trying to be like, hey, look, let's all look out for each other as people. And that's nice. But it's got a great vibe. It's got a great aesthetic. It's got this lo-fi music going on, these beautiful colors. It's good, but it's mostly just relying on a vibe. It's not really like a big gameplay experience. How do we do gameplay that's just calming? Gameplay that's just comfortable, that's just nice. There are some puzzle games that I think accomplish this. Monument Valley is a very good example of just vibes, just hanging out, just here we go, right? But even the most chill peace and quiet games have something in there that's not just peace and quiet, right? We've got to have some tension and release, although there are games that I have not played that probably fit into this category. What else we got? There's a puzzle game that's like an origami game. It's called hold on, I'm getting the name. It's called Kami, Kami. There are definitely a category of puzzle games that are like this, but there's still that tension in terms of figuring out the puzzle. Stardew Valley, people will say, is calming. It's also very chaotic at times. It can be very like deadline, 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 go, go, go. What game comes to mind for you when you think relaxing, when you think comfortable, when you think, I just want to chill? Dragon Quest XI. What is the most peaceful and quiet game that you have played? What makes you just say, there it is. Now I can relax. Now I can just lean back, have a nice cold drink, and relax. Maybe it's those moments in an arcade game, a high action game where you finish getting through a level on freaking asteroids or Pac-Man and you clear the level and there's just like 10 seconds where you go, there it is. I can chill, take a sip. Okay, back to the game. There's stuff like that too. But the essence of this is that there has to be peace and quiet in everything, I think. In every game. There has to be a moment where you step away from all the action, step away from all the craziness and chaos and intensity, and breathe. And I like a game that's dedicated to this, because then they can have these different undertones. They tend to explore complicated emotional themes, kind words even. We're looking at it. It is exploring connections between people. We look at puzzles, they're exploring kind of mental, difficult, tricky thought processes. Okay, fair enough. Spiritfarer, that digs deep. It explores death. It explores your relationships with people during life. It explores the complexity of humans. It explores all of this stuff, this incredibly difficult to deal with stuff. And then you've got games that are quiet in a different way, like Hollow Knight. It's hard. It's difficult, but there's moments of peace and quiet. Nier Automata has moments of incredible silence. There's just these beautiful instances where you go, oh, wow. Something is alive here, even though everything is so soft and quiet. There is an unspeakable quality behind the quietness in a game. There's a moment in there that allows you to process the emotions that are going on, that lets you really connect with the characters. We're always talking about immersion. We're always talking about digging deep into making sure that the player feels like they're in the game. What can we do to make the player feel like they're in the game? How many different things can we do? Little tricks, little color things, little tricks of the light to make it resemble reality. Gameplay things, making sure the controller scheme is tight, all of this stuff to make you feel connected to the game. But sometimes, if you're really into a game, it can give you a moment of silence and it can connect you even deeper to the experience. You would think a moment of silence will make you go, what am I going to have for dinner? But no, sometimes they crush it. Journey. I've not played Journey, but I bet tons of you are thinking of that game right now. I just have the feeling that that's one of these games, and I'm sad that I haven't played it yet, but, there's so many games out there, and it's hard to hit all of them. My feeling towards this is that it is such a powerful part of gaming. It's such an important and beautiful part of it. It is where most of the value really lies for me. This is where I have those moments in gaming where I go, oh, this is good. And it's not that I'm sitting there admiring a beautiful landscape. It's not that I'm sitting there going, wow, what a cool graphical effect this is or whatever. It's that I'm having a moment to digest everything else about the game. I'm not just going forward from quest object to quest object, from just here's the quest line, follow the quest line, like Stanley Parable kind of thing. It's not just this incessant chasing of goals. It's the moments when you stop chasing that make things really special. When we're creating games, when we're creating art of any kind, Silence is essential. Peace and quiet matter. I have such a firm opinion on this. This is one of the few things that I will say, yeah, this is just a fact. This is an artistic fact. If you are creating things, you need to engage in peace and quiet. It will make everything you are doing better. Not all the time, just sometimes. You can absorb all this stuff that you want. I think it's good to do it as often as possible, but it needs to happen. I think that you find yourself in the silence. You learn about yourself in the peace, in the quiet, in the comfort, in that moment where you are not chasing a goal. In the same way that a little bit of peace and quiet in a video game leads you to really appreciate the whole experience and learn from it, a little bit of peace and quiet in your life, a little bit of space from whatever it is that you're working on and chasing and pursuing and all your goals, just a little bit of space from that can make everything make sense. It can help it click into place. It can show you what it is that you want to create. It is important. It is essential that we take space for ourselves. And I don't mean sitting down and going through Reddit. I don't mean sitting down and going and playing a game. I mean some real quiet. Maybe a walk, maybe even nothing, which is horrifying, but certainly not with your phone on you, right? And I don't have to tell people this. This is all over the place. People on the internet all the time now talking about it, oddly enough. It's become a popular topic. What about silence? What about boredom? All of this stuff. People are like, oh, you need to be bored. Yeah, you kind of do. I read a book on it a while back, and then like a year or two later, I start seeing it all over the freaking place. Boredom is nice. Boredom is helpful. It sucks. It's a frustrating feeling, but it's not the same as peace and quiet. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Boredom is handy, but oh man, we don't have a lot of peace and quiet these days. We don't get it. We have to make space for it, which makes it so hard to be creative and so hard to take space for yourself and find space for yourself. People think of space for yourself as like going and doing this exciting thing that's just for you. And like maybe it's just stepping away. Maybe it's just, okay, time for some space for myself. I'm just not doing anything. I'm just going to take a nap. I'm going to read, maybe. At most. Maybe I'm just going to draw, So when I'm not like a visual artist, a drawing guy, I almost said. When I'm not a visual artist, when I'm not somebody who draws all the time and it's not like a big art for me, but when I'm just doodling, I just want to play with drawing for a little bit. Maybe you play the piano a little bit. Maybe you just pick up something where you go, that seems like a nice way to waste some time and explore it. Explore your ideas. Sit out in nature, stare at a pond. Do nothing. Enjoy peace and quiet. Be the old man who yells at the kids and goes, hey, I just want some freaking peace and quiet. Shut up. Stop being loud over there. Sit in the library and silently get annoyed and judgmental about the person who's turning their pages too loudly. Shove some earplugs in your ear holes and just zone out. Put on some freaking sunglasses too and just lay down on the grass under a tree somewhere. If you can, if you have that option. Get out of here. Get out of the craziness of creating things. And then maybe when you're creating your game, when you're creating your project, you will be able to connect to that deeper part of yourself that loves it. Maybe you'll be able to create to that part of you that just adores making things and wants to share that little piece of you that appears whenever everything is quiet. That little, how do I express this? This is a hard one to express. You know that chunk of you that's just calm? There's just a little piece. Sometimes you're just hanging out and you just go, this is nice. I'm just here. It's just comforting. I'm just laying in the sun. I'm content. maybe you can share a piece of that contentment, or you can show people this journey that's going through every other difficult thing. You're having this game full of anxiety and panic and hurrying up and getting from one place to another and pursuing goals, and then suddenly, relaxation. A cold glass of water on a hot day. A nap in the sun after a 3-hour hike. Right there, waiting for them in the game that you made. I think that's a beautiful thing. As you know that I'm a fan of peace and quiet. You've heard my podcast. I'm never yapping. I'm not here to fill space. I'm not here running my mouth, putting more noise into your day. Hopefully it's nice noise. Hopefully it's the kind of noise that makes you go, yeah, I feel comfortable here. This is good. This is a positive thing, right? Hopefully that's how you feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Maybe you journal to help you with your game development, with your art, because I don't think it's only, I know it's odd to say, but I hope it's not just game developers listening to this. I hope that your initial interest is game development, and then some of you go, oh, you know what? Actually, I just want to do pixel art. Or maybe you go, oh, you know what? It's just sound design. That's what really interests me. Game development's great and all, but sound design, that's the thing that I'm really into. Or, oh, I want to compose. I want to write. I want to work on the narrative for games because God knows we need people to fix these freaking narratives. And, oh, it's going to get worse. With AI writing, Jesus Christ, it's going to be so bad. All right, excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting off on this whole tangent here. But the point of this episode is take a moment for yourself. Take a moment to get in touch with that thing. I'm not going to get all artsy-fartsy about it. I mean, I guess I already have. But whatever that thing is, whatever your perception of your creative spirit, energy, blah, 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 I don't like any of that. I think of it as just letting my mind become a little bit quieter so I can see what lies in the depths, so that it can come out. It can say, hey, you're not, I was waiting here for you. You're not busy anymore? Okay, hey, just a little thought I had. What about this idea? What about expressing this? I've been thinking about this a lot. I know you guys are busy. You're having all these conversations about what to have for dinner and what to do about this work stress and what about this other thing. But hey, now that there's a moment of silence, I'm just going to chime in and say, hey guys, what if we just explored this thing? You know what I'm talking about? It's like the quiet guy at the party who, like, if everybody stops talking for a minute, he'll say something and everybody will go, what? Whoa. I didn't know that's a great thought. Oh my God. And it'll start a whole conversation just off of one thing one guy said because everybody finally gave him the opportunity to speak. I think that my creativity, or the best parts of it, maybe, are the parts that they're just there, they're hanging out, they've got this quiet little idea waiting to come out, and if I'll just shut up for a second, then I'll hear it. My only question for you this week is, what brings you a sense of calm? For me, it's a nap. It's a nap, dude. I will come home from work and I will take a nap, and it will make me go, everything is right in the world. The more I nap, the better I feel. And then getting a nice full night's sleep. Oh my God. It's the greatest. It really is. For me, that's it. That gives me that sense of calm. That gives me that comfort. That gives me so much of what I need to think straight and just have my head on straight and not be in a state of anxious panic, and to clear it up a little bit whenever I do start to panic. So what is that for you? Ooh, another one is the way down on a long hike. I can hike up a mountain with somebody. I say mountain, it's, in the Appalachians. They're not like the Rocky Mountains. They're not huge, steep mountains with snow-capped stuff. They're just very big hills. But I can go up a mountain with my buddies, and the whole way up I'm yapping, I'm hanging out, I'm blah, 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 blah. We hang out at the top for a little bit. I'm always like ready to go. I just want to go back to the bottom. I'm not somebody who hangs out at the top. I want to get going. I want to walk back. The walk back downhill, down the mountain is always so peaceful and quiet. And there's something about that lands for me. That is a moment of comfort and serenity. Maybe something comes to you immediately. Maybe something doesn't come to you, and you got to explore it a little bit, and you got to find out what it is that gives you a little bit of silence. But I will say, escape the phone. Don't even have it on like an easily accessible spot. Like if you're hiking or something, put it in the backpack in a secure pocket rather than having it, right up on you where you can check it instinctively. If you're in your office, if you're in your bedroom, or wherever your computer is, just put the phone in a little drawer somewhere, Turn off some notifications. Do whatever you got to do to give yourself a little bit less noise. Maybe not even complete silence, just a little less noise, And then maybe you'll get a little peace. Maybe you'll get a little quiet. Go out at night for a walk, sit by a body of water. That's always nice. You get to hear some frogs. You get to hear whatever nature sounds you have in your area, if that is an option for you. Or maybe you listen to the city. Maybe you go up to the rooftop of your apartment complex and just listen and look out at the lights and get some peace and quiet that way. In its own weird, noisy way, it's not about literal silence. It's about the sensation of peace and quiet. That's everything I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on this episode. What else do I usually say here? I guess that's it. Until next time, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. I will see you then. Bye-bye.